you folks hear me good today? Raise your hand if you can hear me. Excellent. I ain't pointing the trip. You're unable to hear me because the PA loses
Departing Gold Beach.
or starts to make funny noises. Please let me know, or I'll be back here talking to myself again. I do enough of that as it is already. Well, first thing we're going to do here is get your picture taken. I'm going to take a left-hand turn around the fuel dock here, nose into the seawall, tell you to wave, and then just keep on waving until they wave back or in some way indicate that they're taking your picture. Now you get back at the end of the trip, you better take a look at one, purchase one if you'd like. They're also going to give one away. That's right, somebody on board this boat has won a free picture. Just going to want to swing by at the end of the trip and check it out.
Will they save them?
Okay, everybody wave. Keep on waving.
We all seem to be in Hawaii.
Okay, how much is that?
We'll be back in 2 days. Okay, now we're departing Gold Beach. Okay. Zip up the pockets. I don't need wet coffee beans. Yeah.
Right in front of us, right hand side, there's a whole bunch of harbor seals.
Oh.
Little harbor seals come in a wide variety of colors, white, gray, red, brown. Some have a multitude of spots. Others don't, but they're all the same type of seal. Chances are we'll see a few of these up and down the river today. They do not require salt water. And I've seen them every mile, the lower 52 miles of the road. They were all looking for a tasty Chinook salmon to eat upon.
Oh, the seals are
If you folks need to stand up today to see something or take a picture, feel free to do so just as long as I am not moving, like right now.
I was waiting to do that.
Not when I'm up on plane. Not when I'm spinning the boat or in a riffle. You should know when not to stand up. But if you do stand up and you fall out, please grab a hold of somebody and drag them over the side with you, because I don't like to stop for just one person.
No cat houses are gone. Oh, gold cat houses. Those are all gone. The seals get the old dogs. The seals get the old dogs.
Unlike in Newport, they're kind of quiet.
Yeah, there never used to be seals like that around here.
Okay, this is a several-hour
Well,
trip.
it's just about time to go here. So pull those hats down. Good and tight. We're going to be doing upwards of 45, 50 miles per hour at times. If your hat flies off into the water, I'll do my best to recover it for you. In some places I can get them back. Other places your hat's gone forever. I'll be more than delighted to sell you brand new. In fact, just like right here. One rule on board about those hats, though, and that is if I recover your hat out of the water, you are required by maritime law to put it back on and let everybody on this boat laugh at you and take your picture when you do it. Alright, here we go. Memorial Bridge, named after Oregon's 18th governor's 1,932 feet tall. Now this, by coincidence, is also the year of its completion, 1932. It is the only bridge of this design on the continent. In fact, there's only one other like it in the world, and that bridge is in France.
In France.
Well, tell the real story. Tell us that I built them all. See the whole coast. Newport, Whitewater,
Bridge from their spot, looking back downstream at it this time of day.
Yep, the hat comes off. It keeps trying to lift off, and I'm not sure I trust that catch that much.
Get the man out of it. That's
1932. I wonder what makes the design of it so special. Looks like just a multi-arch bridge.
Send you a picture though.
It's pretty though. Very pretty. Very Art Deco, as you can see. Yes, it does.
bald eagle in the cottonwood straight in front of you. I'm gonna have to get back downstream just a bit here so you can see it. Right in the center towards the top. Should be coming into view.
Center towards the top.
Now we have a pretty healthy population of bald eagles on the lower road.
Oh, there it is.
15 or so nesting pairs in the lower 52 miles.
If you look up the crown of the tree and move down about
And a
10
whole
feet.
bunch of juveniles shown in the mix. These birds do not migrate. They stay here year round.
Yeah, you're from Alaska. We got one bald eagle in Oregon. Oh, no, we got two at home. But it's all kind of unusual. It wasn't here 30 years ago.
You never seen them when we lived down here as kids.
They've definitely recovered.
That is an awesome feature. I just figured out on my
What, the zoom
Yep.
lens?
They dredge the lower bay with the Army Corps engineers have this big ship that comes in. So it's like your typical dredge, suction dredge. And you're going to see some
Okay, that's
channel
cute.
maintenance up here today. I'll talk about it when we get up there.
Straight
Yeah, I
underneath
see him. He's a gray one. The other one was white.
Off we go. Oh, deer up there.
Oh, when I get back, we can look up this
Tributary.
You can see some Roosevelt elk, hopefully.
Oh,
They're still there.
nope, they made it across.
There we go.
Yep.
Did anybody see him besides me?
I was looking up the slough to see what the heck it was.
How many people saw that one? Roosevelt elk.
That might be how you try it.
Named for
Mature bull
Penny, I
Roosevelt elk.
think.
Exceed 1,000 pounds in weight. They're a big animal. We got a local herd here of about 30, 40 animals. We see them down here in this part of the river all the time.
looks like one of the lodges. I don't see people waiting for us.
Raptors. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Anywhere, don't matter.
I doubt it's Beanie Moore. I've never seen Beanie Moore down in this lower part of the river in my life.
Is he up the river?
He might be. I don't know. We'll find out when we go up there today.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
If Beanie's on the river raft, then it will not be down here. It'll be up above Agnes, above Foster Park.
Campground up here.
Was it cold?
Oh, it's freezing.
Oh, you look like you're freezing. You're not even wet yet.
They saved a seat for you.
Thanks, guys.
We just said, we're like, no, we might be scattered.
Good morning.
I'd stand up and look around, except he told us to stay seated, so I'm going to follow his instructions.
Oh yeah, there's good swimming around here.
Hurry up. Get in there. We're slowing the boat down.
No, I know. We're like, oh my God. Preparing for the
You're going to want to tighten up the chin strap on that hat.
What was it, 90 something?
It's probably close to that. I don't know if I ever actually looked at the temperature. There's life jackets underneath all the rows in front of you. We'll be putting those on up above Agnes. You know, put on a life jacket, right? There's a placard right there on the back of the seat. Shows you how they're just the best type of 30 snaps in the front with those straps on the side. Okay.
Above Agnes.
Just have to see if I can keep it out of the way of the camera.
Maybe this is the road trip. No. Because there's one where you go in for
Okay, it's still recording.
Well, now they've got everybody loaded up, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the boat we're in. Boat's name is the Taylor Cane. It's 32 feet long, all aluminum, welded Whitewater design, powered by 3 6-liter Chevrolet Marine engines. Each engine produces about 400 horsepower for a grand total of 1,200 horses.
Yikes.
Now, propulsion is supplied by Hamilton jet pumps. The way the jet pumps work is water is taken in through intakes in the bottom of the hull, forced through nozzles by pumps. To steer the boat, I just simply change the direction of the nozzles from side to side. I can do this with my steering wheel, of course. Now, if I need to stop, put on the brakes, go into reverse. I can take cups, mechanically force them down over the end of the nozzles. This, in turn, redirects the flow of water back underneath of the boat. Now, the greatest advantage to the Hamilton jet pump is its ability to run in extremely shallow water. Believe it or not, I can get this boat through as little as 6 inches in the right conditions. That's if I want to. I don't have to today. Plenty of water in the river today. Now, the reason I can do this is there's virtually nothing, excuse me, that protrudes down below the surface of the hull. No props, no rudders, just flat bottom. Over here on the rock, to our right, there's a great blue heron.
Yeah, it's done.
He's a full-time resident of the road. They like to feed upon small fish. They hunt them by sneaking along the river's edge, pecking at them. Pretty opportunistic bird, though. He'll eat just about anything and wiggle. Snakes, frogs, mice.
Oh, he's
I've even seen him snap up the occasional duckling when one gets too close. Should see a lot of these up and down the river today, but this is about the tamest one we'll find. Most of them fly off. This guy, he's gotten used to being looked at over the years. He usually sticks around pretty good.
And there he goes.
Get off my porch.
this area due to the fact it had numerous and large crayfish in it, or crawdads.
Right there in that hole.
Now the large rock is called Massacre Rock. It gets its name because soldiers and settlers laid an ambush on top of it and shot and killed 2 canoes full of Indians as they passed underneath. Now it was in retribution for an attack made upon Ellensburg, but they killed the wrong Indians. And in fact, killed some that were friendly with the settlers and often traded with them. Now the Lobster Creek Bridge before us marks the beginning of the wild and scenic portion of the Rogue River. Underneath the 1968 Wild and Scenic Rivers Act, the Rogue River was one of the original 8 rivers listed. Under this listing, 3 designations: wild, scenic, and recreational. We're now going into the recreational portion. 10 miles upstream we'll enter into the scenic, and then 8 miles above Agnes we'll go into the wild, 12 miles before we turn around at the bottom of Blossom Bar Rapids. Now each one of these points becomes a bit more restrictive as to the amount of access and development that's allowed along the Rogue River's banks and waterways.
I hope the GoPro's getting his stuff.
Good example of an osprey nest.
There.
We've probably already spotted a few of these, and if you keep looking up in the trees, you'll see a whole bunch more of them. All osprey nests, with a couple of exceptions that are bald eagle nests, look just like that. Now an osprey will continue to work on his nest throughout his lifetime, so it just gets bigger and bigger. And frequently when a pair of ospreys dies out to old age, one of the juveniles raised in the nest will take it over and the cycle will continue. Now they're kind of remarkable in the fact that they'll withstand a pretty good wind. It's not uncommon for us to get winds, in the 70, even 80 mile per hour range here during our winter storms. And I'm not saying that occasionally a tree doesn't fall over and a nest blows out, but most of the time when the ospreys come back in the spring, they'll find that nest right where they left it.
Huh.
road number 33. It's approximately halfway between Agnes and Gold Beach. Favorite stopping spot for fishermen, campers, swimmers. Of course, Satan is an Indian word. It means clear water. Now, if you look left, float top fir tree, another large nest. That one belongs to a pair of bald eagles. They're usually within a mile or two here. I haven't seen much activity around the nest this year, so I don't believe they're raising any little eagles in it. Well, it's time to liven this party up.
Oh dear.
Start doing a few spins.
Party time.
Now, when I do a spin, or the first couple of spins, I'm going to warn you. I'm going to say, brace yourself up. So, here's what you want to do. You want to lean back and push back. Keep your feet on the floor and against the bulkhead of the life jacket compartment in front of you. Push back with your legs and lean on back into the seat. Brace yourself up. Now, like I said, I'll warn you on the first two. If you're doing good with them, you'll be on your own after that. We'll make them a little faster and a little funner as the day goes on, unless, of course, people start sliding around. We'll have to slow them down. Anybody see that osprey?
Coming right at us.
And he's also called a fish hawk. Called a fish hawk because he likes to fly along, finding unsuspecting fish, and they dive down and grab them with their talons. They migrate here in the spring to have their young, return in the fall to Central America and Mexico.
Huh.
They mate for life, return to the same nest year after year. Lean back up there. What do you think? Did you like the spin? Anybody not like the spin? For those of you who don't like the spin out, you probably just want to jump overboard. Swim to the bank. We'll pick you up on the way back.
Yeah, somebody's smoking a little bit more than he ought to be. And that got us wet. Yep.
Nice. You guys doing great with this thing. You're on from here. I started sliding sideways. I can just spin the boat. Brace yourself up. Now, if you're wondering what's going on here, he's doing channel maintenance. So that boat is cabled off to the bank. They have a big cable drum in it. He's tail anchored back there on the bank, and he pulls against the cable and uses the jet wash to move the gravel to dig a channel down the north side of the river there. They've done this on this river for years. And it's not just for us. In fact, we don't even need it for these boats. They can run such shallow water, but it's for everybody.
And off we go. We're now entering Skookum House Canyon. Skookum House Canyon. I guess it's a canyon.
Skookum, I think. It's like Alaska.
Skookum House Canyon. Skookum House Canyon gets its name from Skookum House Butte over on the mountain right hand side. Now it's translated, Skookum means strong house, being fortress, or the Indians had a the Indian Wars between 1852 and 56. The Indians had a fortress up there to protect themselves. Translated, Skookum means strong house, being fort, or strong fort. Now, as you can see, Forest Service Road number 33 comes down and cuts along the bluffs here. It follows the river for about 1.5 miles and it goes back up on the hill. We don't see it anymore until we get to Agnes. Now it's in the deeper waters of the canyons like this one, where the green sturgeon holds up, lays, feeds, and spawns. It's a rather large fish, a throwback to prehistoric times. It can be up to 8-9 feet in length and 500-600 pounds. They have a long snout, sucker mouth, bony plates on their sides, a shark's tail, and they're kind of an olive drab green color. They're not real pretty.
I've seen them on TV. I wouldn't want to hook one.
At 600 pounds, I think it would take you, not you it. Yikes. Looks like we're going to watch another boat go past, maybe. Itty bitty birds.
About 40 years ago, just about the time the movie Jaws was a big hit, former owner of the mail boats and a pilot at the time, a guy by the name of Gary Combs, was idling through this section of the river, talking to his people, when a rather large sturgeon jumped out of the water, landed on the bow of the boat, started thrashing around. It kicked out the front windshield and slid back off into the river. Well, this little lady in the front row, in the complete hysteria, she started screaming, scratching, clawing away over the tops of the people in seats before Gary could get her stopped at the back of the boat. All she could say was, I thought it was Jaws. Now, Gary always said that he wished he could get a sturgeon to jump into his boat every day after that. Because it's the very best day for tips he ever had.
That was a hint.
Some of the trees growing out of the banks here are the larger conifers on both sides of the river are Douglas fir trees. Douglas fir can live in excess of 500 years in age. It's highly valued for its lumber and plywood making qualities. The small scrubby ones with crooked mossy trunks and little tiny leaves growing out of the rocks are canyon live oak. That reddish trunked one directly to our right with the slick bark in the top, that's a Pacific madrone. The larger mossy trunk one, that's a big leaf maple. Now just upstream of the maple, darker green, smaller leaves. The one in front of us now is a myrtle wood.
Oh.
Myrtle wood is popular in this area for woodworking. They make cabinets, clocks, cutting boards, gun stocks. You'll see it in a lot of local gift shops. And the white trunk ones are a western red alder. They get their name from the deep red colored in the bark. The dead top one silhouetted against the sky, that's a Port Orford white cedar. Also valued for lumber. It's very weather resistant, makes excellent decking, siding for houses. It's what a lot of the old timers around here used to use for building their riverboats.
He did mention he was going to do them without warning us.
In front of us is called Slide Creek. Slide Creek marks the boundary between the scenic and recreational portions of the Rogue River. Now from here on up to Agnes, all the homes and cabins that you see on the left-hand side of the river, All the material to build and maintain them brought in entirely by riverboat, as there is no road access on the north end side. Come here, Dag. it's part of the Rogue River Cloac. Now, during the 1964 flood, the river rose in excess of 100 feet in a spot that acted as a bottleneck of the river.
Gonna scare them ducks.
That rock out in front of us is called Painted Rock. Now this is the site or the location of the last Rogue River Indian battle. The last of the holdouts that would not surrender be put on reservations or be killed or captured. operation of its walls. Now, at one time, it was a proposed site for a hydroelectric dam. Had they installed the dam, it would have backed the river up over 60 miles, almost all the way to Grants Pass. Canadian Agnes, my home. Agnes was named by Amaziah Auberry, the first postmaster. Named it after his daughter, little Agnes. Agnes has 3 lodges, a general store, a post office, library, community hall, fire hall, and about 125 full-time residents. Now, it used to have a one-room schoolhouse, but enrollment dropped to one here a few years back, so they shut it down. That same one-room schoolhouse that my mother went to, my children went to. No, it wasn't at the same time. Now the river that enters directly in front of us on the road's right-hand side is its largest tributary, the Illinois. Gets its name because a lot of the early settlers and place miners who lived up there were from Illinois. Now the bridge was built here to replace the one taken out by the 1964 flood. The newly completed bridge at that time had never had an automobile across it. They were in the process of building the approach ramps when the 64 flood came along and knocked it down. This one's 10 feet taller. Now back in 62, when they were building that first bridge, a young college student away on his summer break came into Agnes for the first time in his life to work on one of the construction crews building the bridge. While he was here, he met a young lady who had lived here her entire life. They fell in love, got married. A few years later, they had a baby boy, and he grew up to be a Jerry jet boat pilot. Yep, you guessed it, it's me. So that first bridge, not complete waste, at least not to me. And not big for it, I wouldn't be here today. Alright, we're going to be taking our break up around the corner at Cougar Lane Lodge. Let you stretch your legs and use the bathrooms. We'll take about 15 minutes, and we're going to load back up, put life jackets on, go up in the Whitewater, splash around up there for about 2 hours, then we come back down and eat our lunch. Now it's about a 150-yard walk up the hill. A little steeper than the ramp coming down to the boat this morning, but I can arrange and ride for you up the hill if you need or want to ride. So if you need or want to ride, raise your hand. We'll get one for you. Okay.
I guess this is our lunch spot. One way or the other. Okay, no problem. Maybe not. Are the lodge we're going to be eating at.
15 minutes, let's just say 10:40, 15 minutes.
We'll be eating there in a couple of days.
Right up the rest, you follow the trail to the top of the hill, take a left, do not go up the road. Now this is the most dangerous part of your trip, folks, believe it or not. Right here at the docks in Agnes is the weight transfers from the boat to the dock. Dock goes down and the boat goes up. People hang a tow and they fall. It happens all the time. So please take your time, help those around you assistance. Somebody secure both ends before you get out. If you have troubles getting in and out, sit down on the edge and swing your legs over. Or step from the floor to the dock. Don't get up on the gunwale and jump off. That's another way people get hurt. Left side, you can drop those straps down if you like. 10:40, 15 minutes, Cougar Lane. Save a little time to get your life jackets on.
Well, I don't trying to figure out what my shit was.
All right, leaving Cougar Lane Lodge and heading into Whitewater. And we've been promised we're gonna get wet.
Slightly lopsided, just slightly to the right. That's better, thank you.
So I just have to hope that the lens will survive. What on our right?
There's a mink swimming in the river.
A mink.
I don't know if we'll see him again, but it's here somewhere.
Hey, Eagle Eye, where's he at, Bill?
There's a couple ducklings over there.
Okay, I can't handle that no more. There's baby doves.
Those might have been the mink's target.
Well, all of a sudden it goes and disappears. Boy. Just a rat. Or one of those parrot things.
Because the Indians that lived in this area. We're going to go up the right-hand side, take a hard left turn, enter to a narrow bedrock channel, take a hard right turn, and continue upstream. Now from here on up, a lot more hard rock, and by hard rock I mean bedrock, ledge rock, less gravel, tighter clearances, and all the riffles. Thus, the Coast Guard deems it necessary for you to wear the life jackets.
getting wet.
Well, the bridge before us is called the Cougar Bridge. Now, it's one of the bridges that survived the 1964 flood. All the water went over the roadway, leaving logs and debris stacked up on the railing. It's also where Forest Service Road number 33 crosses from the south, goes up the north-hand side 4 more miles to Foster Bar. At that point, you can no longer access the Rogue River by public road. You get 40 miles upstream of Grave Street, other end of the wild section. And if you look left on a rock, you can see a western pond turtle. You don't see very many pond turtles below Agnes, but there's a lot of them up here in the upper river. As 20 years ago that the University of Oregon was doing research on western pond turtles rafting down the Rogue River. And I swung in and talked to them one day, and they told me they were trying to figure out why the Rogue River had such healthy populations of western pond turtle, and everywhere else they were in decline. It was also at that time they told me these things can live up to be 100 years in age.
Oh, there it is. Down there, that low rock with the slope.
This next ripple is called 2 Mile. It'll be the first of many Class 3 ripples that we will be going through today.
Class 3.
lives at a bald eagle over your shoulder, right hand side of the drone tree.
Huh. Okay, up in the inside that hanging tree overhang.
He's like, look at all them fish.
He's like, look at all them dumb tourists. What do they think they're looking at?
He knows we close. He knows he's safe with us in the boat. He's got a feather sticking out. Drop the lizard.
And this river was called Old Brigham. It was named that by the early miners in the area. You notice that the sedimentary rock on our left-hand side was tipped up on edge, creating sort of a natural sluice box. So we got the idea to dam up the river and then mine out the gold. Well, after 2 months of hard work, they did just that. They dammed it up, diverted the flow over to the north-hand side of the canyon. They got started mining, only got 2 days in. The river rose and it wiped out their entire project. They never tried again after that.
Oops.
Foster Bar Campground and boat launch. Like I said, it's the last place you can access the Rogue River by public road. You get 40 miles upstream to Graves Creek. That's a really popular float from Graves Creek down to Foster Bar. It takes about 3 days. Lots of rafts, kayaks, and grip boats.
In other words, obstacles. Like I said, obstacles. Hello, Heron.
After in the wild section, we try to get the raft traffic, grip traffic, the weight-free pass. We can do that one or 2 ways. Either slow down and idle by, substituting the weight. Or go by really fast and throw it to the side. Now, it's not always possible, but we do have a chance on one chance on. Now we do this out of etiquette, not law.
I think he's there to practice. That wouldn't surprise. That's kind of how we use Tobin and Jabe. Here we go again. For a second there, I thought we were going to go round them. Okay.
Watson Pool, beginning of the wild section. Turnaround point for our 80-mile trip. Now from here on up we go 12 more miles. All access is highly regulated. All commercial as well as private need permits to go beyond this point. And yes, we have 6 permits a day. That's a 104-mile trip like the one you're on. Now, if you wish to raft and Rogue River privately, you can obtain a permit online through the BLM. It's a lottery or a draw. You put in for the date you'd like to start. Some dates are easy to get. Others aren't on the busier weekends. If you wish to powerboat above here, once again, you can obtain a permit. This time, the United States Forest Service. See, there it is. At Frost and Bar, first come, first served. You get 1 trip in, 1 trip out. And there's 8 permits total per day. Privately owned. All the homes, cabins, and lodges that you see from here on up, they're all in place for the 68 Rivers Act. So they're grandfathered in. Now while some of the construction over there is new, there's been an older existing building tore down before they put a new one up. So there's no actual growth beyond what it was in 68. This riffle's called Peyton Riffle, named that after Peyton Blondell, my great uncle. Peyton was killed here. They were crossing cattle when a bull knocked him off his horse. He washed downstream, then he fell out of a rock, and the same bull that knocked him off his horse washed up against the rock, crushed him, killed him. So, if you want a riffle named after you around here, I guess you gotta get killed doing it.
That rock really didn't like you. Kayakers. Yep. kayakers. He's got all the supplies. Yep. Well, he said it was a 3-day trip. Now 3 more kayakers that I can see. Okay. That inflatable looks almost too tall for him. Kayaks. Okay, that's how I want to do it, on a pontoon. Those guys, that's how you do it.
If you look out in front of us, right hand side, you can see a live oak tree going around the top of a pointed rock. Some call that the bonsai tree. Most of us just call it the regular old oak tree. Now in 1972, National Geographic magazine did a couple of rafting trips down the road where they made a documentary or an article on the cover of the magazine. Here's a picture of this live oak. If I had a nickel for every picture taken of it since, then I'd be a rich man.
Yep, I'm sure.
You can see where the taproot grows down the side of the rock there. One time there was another half to this rock. It grew down through a crack and put down the soil and water. At some point, floods came along, knocked that half of the rock off and left the tree. And I've heard a few people say it was a 64 flood that did it, and they're wrong. Not that I was here in 64, but I know a few people who were, and they said it's always looked like that.
Cargo raft. Going backwards.
figure out why. Got a little more technical runs. We're going to go up to a long ripple bust up over a falls and take a hard right.
Party time, indeed. Whoa. Saw that coming.
Yeah, well, that's Clay Hill Lodge. Clay Hill Lodge is raft in, hike in, powerboat in. No roads in this area. Now from here on up you may start to notice the bare fences like that one over there on the left, the T-post with electric fence wire. This one's in a state of disrepair. They haven't fixed up yet for the season. They put these up for the rafters and trail hikers to put their food in, keep the bears out, make Yogi go out in the woods, earn an honest living. If you ever trail hike or raft the road river, you need to try and use these things or in some way ensure the bears stay out of your food. Because once they start busting in the ice chest, there's no change in their minds after that. They become addicted to human food and they will not leave it alone. The fed bear, he eventually becomes dead bear. They're almost always killed in the end for it. Funny looking tree, or pine tree. They call it the dinosaur tree. I always thought they should have named it giraffe tree. It's possible it could be an Indian sign. Indians would take a piece of rawhide and tie a tree down and make it grow in this way to act as a sign. Maybe to mark a trailhead or a village.
think that's known as glamping. Nice little camping spot. I keep waiting for him to pull a 360. Yep, we're gonna do it again. Well, if you didn't catch the first time, here we go. horses. Here we go.
Now, if you look back downstream and below the creek, left-hand side of the river, pretty much straight in front of us now, there's some stairs cut into the rocks. And then up higher and more left, on the flat, you can see an old fireplace. That belonged to what they called the old general's cabin. In the 50s
I have no idea what I'm looking
and
at.
early 60s, there were 4 prominent generals used to come in here.
Oh, okay. I see the stairs.
Bush plane.
And I see the stove.
Land them on the gravel bar downstream of this left-hand side to get a couple of guides, either out of the Gold Beach or Agnes area, to come up and guide them. The most famous and prominent of the 4 was General Curtis LeMay,
Whoa.
Army Air Corps, World War II, head of the Pacific Theater. He's the one that orchestrated the bombing of Japan. Now later on in his career, they called him the father of Strategic Air Command. The entire time he was in here while he was still active, they would fly overhead 24 hours a day with a bomber, a large radio, and keep in radio contact with the outside world, just in case World War III kicked off back in the early days of the Cold War before you had satellite communications. And this is Huggins Canyon, named that after Andy Huggins. Andy had a cabin up around the corner here at Half Moon Bar.
Oh, look at the puppy. Puppies. Yeah, I think we just need to idle on up there. But apparently the captain has a different idea than me. A bit more expensive or experience than me too, so let's do what he wants. Watch these people hit these rapids. And there they go. And here we go. Well, that's good. I don't think I want to go try that stairway. Oh, they have an elevator. How nice. Half Moon Bay Bar Lodge. It's interesting because the sign is shaped like U.S. Forest Service. Something like that. National Park Service. There's Paradise. There's our lodge.
And on our left is Paradise Lodge. Paradise Lodge is rafting, hiking, powerboating.
Some stairs.
No roads in this area either. Now there is a primitive airstrip up there. We don't use it anymore. It's for emergencies only.
Airstrip.
If you ever want to stay in a nice remote wilderness lodge, I'd highly recommend Paradise.
Well, that's good.
And I'll be dropping you folks off that are going to stay at Paradise on the way down.
Are you home yet?
Paradise Creek or Paradise Falls.
Okay.
I bet that's cold water.
this is where we're supposed to hike up to. What? Okay. And this is why I have a GoPro.
And out in front of us is Blossom Bar Rapids, our turnaround point. From here on up, engines are prohibited May 1 to November 15th. The fall's been done many times by powerboats. You're not allowed to do it this time of year. And somebody always wants to know, hey, can we get this one up through there? No, we can't. Not enough water. If in the winter months, yeah, I get it through there. More aggressive, smaller jet boat, yeah, I go all the way to Grants Pass and beyond. That's what accounts for about 99% of the wrecks on the river with the raft traffic anyways. If you look straight ahead, there appears to be a clear path with water flowing down over a rock up there.
Yeah.
Comes out every now and again. You don't want to go that way. That's the picket fence. There's just a couple of poles on the oars, and you go from our right to left underneath the big boulders at the top, and then you pick your way down through the rocks after that. Now, if you miss it and end up in the picket fence, very seldom does it turn out nice. Most of the time, it flips your boat up on its side, pins it up against a rock, spills everything out. You spend the rest of the day trying to round up your stuff and dig your boat out of the rocks. And yeah, there's a couple of rocks that are notorious for holding people under with their life jackets on at the lower flows. So you'll see people all the time up on the left scouting it out, picking their line. And if you have somebody in your party that's knowledgeable and has done it before, park your raft up on top, hop in with them, ride down with them, see how they do it, and then walk back up and bring your raft down. All right, head back down. Things will be bouncier, things will be wetter.
Bouncier and wetter coming up. But Paradise Lodge is not that far away. we don't disturb the people eating lunch, wherever they are, up around the corner here. Now somebody,
Hello, today you're departing the Paradise Lodge. I'd like to thank you for riding along with me today. Now, I'm not sure when you folks are leaving. If it's tomorrow, I'll be on the evening trip, and you'll be riding with Darren or Travis. About a 1 in 3 chance. If you're leaving in a couple days, then you'll be riding with me. Paradise only. You can take your life jackets off and stow those for me if you would.
yeah, this could get interesting.
Just Paradise. Now allow me to get in here and get secure. And by that, there's going to be a little bump on
Till
the
Paradise Lodge, Rogue River. The date should be familiar to my parents. 1964 floods. And that is how high the water came.